Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. Today we're going to be talking about survival, and this is because this is one of the more beloved modes in Tom Clancy's The Division. And so for a while now, I've been making a bunch of videos, actually since about last year, talking about the potential of a survival mode coming to The Division 2. I've made about 4 or 5 of these videos, but there's something pretty cool about a lot of videos is a lot of the community gets to weigh in on this. And one of the really more interesting things I've seen from the feedback is actually a plot that was actually suggested by one of the members of my channel, someone who's a subscriber here. And this is from Andrew, and he just wrote a comment on that video that I posted a few months ago saying, survival game mode in Division 2, True Sons take over the new Dark Zone in New York and have built a launcher that shoots DC-62 shells. Agents were called in from Washington to take it out. On the way, they get shut down, and you have to get resources to stop yourself from dying from poisonous air. You work up to the Dark Zone and destroy the launcher. This, in my opinion, is probably one of the most significant and more important plot lines that I've just heard in a single comment in a 2-sentence structure about the Division game. I have to give it to you, Andrew. That is definitely so innovative that I read it and I was like, oh my gosh, how did I not read this comment 3 months ago? And I think from looking at the comments of all my Division videos that I've done, if you want to check them out, I have links for them in the description below. It's really interesting to see that generally there is a favorability to survival mode. Now, this is not to say that, survival was definitely one of the biggest and most enjoyed modes in Division 1. Actually, it was for a few people, but largely a lot of the reports I've been hearing was a lot of people in the community did not play survival as much as the developers would have wanted. And I think I have a few ideas as to why that happened. It wasn't necessarily a very casual mode. It was very grounded and hardcore, and it didn't necessarily have a wider audience appeal because every time you went for a survival game, if it was your first time, you pretty much, were preparing yourself to spend about 45 minutes. Now, the more hardcore players were running through it in about 10 minutes, but then it became just a walk in the park for them. So it was almost two extremes in a sense. Now, I do have to commend another content creator that's been in this community for a long time, Afflicted Gamer. He spent his time carrying people through the mode, and he was also another person who pretty much started a huge survival, kind of reconnaissance in the game. He was the one doing Survival Sunday back in the day when nobody was really playing the Division 1 much anymore. So if you think about survival, it's a very grassroots mode for really, really well invested members of the community. And I think the reason we haven't seen it is because the development team is probably wanting to do something that's going to have a wider appeal to a more casual audience. But nonetheless, if they really want to do something like this, I think a True Sons, theme would definitely be good. In fact, what's even crazy is what if they were able to do a True Sons theme, they were able to do a Black Tusk theme, maybe even doing a Hyena theme. You never know. But that DC-62 idea, though, was actually really creative, and it really got me sparked and fired up to start talking more about this potential mode as something that can come to this game. Because think about it, the Division 2's developers, from what I'm hearing, do not have any plans for the next gen, taking this game that direction. But in my opinion, I think for next gen, if Massive wants to really, really capitalize on that, they're not only going to sit down and wait for Avatar, they're probably going to run the Division 2. And for those of you who don't know, when the Division 1 first released, Massive was about a 400 team studio. Now they are over 700 when you look at their count. And with everything going on, they were about to move. In fact, they moved their entire operation to an entirely new building. And so I don't think it's a matter of them wanting to, in any sense, downsize their staff. If anything, I think they're probably going to just hunker down for a little bit, redirect, and most likely start working on, another or 2 other big games, which we know and has been confirmed in 2007 that they're working on Avatar. And we all know that Massive is a multi-game studio who were working on Avatar and the Division 2 at the same time. Yes, they were pitching Avatar and they were kind of getting all that stuff started from the ground up and pitching everything to Lightstorm. but at the same time, they were working on the Division 2 and finishing it and putting up the final touches to it before its release in March of 2019. Now, their approach, I'm not a fan of, to be very honest. Them making multiple games means once they're done with one project, they usually pull a lot of resources to go, continue supporting the other project that they're trying to finish. So my biggest guess is some of their more in-depth, game designers are already working on this Avatar game, or in my honest opinion, already developing another Division 3 game, which another team may have kind of kicked off from the ground, and then they're just going in there to start doing the in-depth design. Think about Drew. Where is Drew? Think about Thylander. Where is he at? In fact, I haven't seen Bruce in a state of the game in a long time. I haven't seen a bunch of the folks that dropped Warlords of New York for us, who were much more regulars at the state of the game. So if these folks are not working on a Division 3 game, I really don't know what else to say they're doing, because that's how Massive rolls. So I think they can be working on perhaps the mid-range to the final end of the Avatar game, and probably doing, something along the lines of the initial beginnings of a Division 3 game. But a survival mode is something that we would love to see in the storyline. And I can understand them wanting to, always reinvent the wheel and keep things fresh from a creative perspective, but Massive needs to learn how to do fan service. I think this is one very, very important thing. If you're going to do something that does have a fresh look to it, you ought to have the fan service, aspect really grounded to it. So I'll give you guys a silly example before I let you go. If you look at the Warner Brothers Interactive Media right now, Rocksteady has recently revealed that it's working on a Suicide Squad game. For the longest time, there were rumors saying that Rocksteady wanted to do a Superman game. In fact, their last game that they did, Batman Arkham Knight, had a lot of Superman, cookies in there and Easter eggs. I mean, they had Lex Corp buildings, they had thugs talking about a freaking metropolis and all that stuff. So it was not a big mystery that they were wanting to do another game that would feature Superman. Well, apparently from the rumors we heard, Warner Brothers did not want them to do a Superman game. So apparently they went with the Suicide Squad game, and the game is basically you dealing against the Justice League. And one of the biggest members of the Justice League that they've teased, in fact, the only member, one of the two members that they've actually officially teased is Superman, who they actually showed on their poster and even in the gameplay reveal. Why? Because of fan service. They understand that fans want to see those characters in a video game. So even though they're going to be doing, what the whole corporate agenda is, because the publisher has to make a lot of these calls, they still are finding creative ways to bridge the gap with the fans. And I don't think Massive is considering these things. They need to find a way to bridge the gap with fans for the kind of content that we do want in the game. I think if they do that, they'll be, or would have been, much more successful at the onset of this game. But now we know that they're probably running a lot of this stuff with perhaps a smaller crew who's doing a lot of the technical aspects, maybe working on bringing the so-called skyscraper mode or whatever it is. But I wish that whenever they have the time to put anything into the game, they go into it with the fans at heart, and not just, wanting to implement just their own ideas or just the publisher mandated ideas, but take all the feedback that's been given, take all the things that have made the fans excited and use those things and capitalize on them more than anything. Anyways, I wanted to show you guys just that comment and have you guys start thinking and talking about this mode, because it's actually something that's super good. I mean, it's crazy to see that even members of the community have some really good ideas. I mean, still though, we've always had some really solid ideas in this community, but, wish the devs would take some cues, wish they'll take some notes, from their own community who's very happy to throw ideas out there out of nowhere. They do once in a while with the ETFs and all that stuff, but, there's so much more that could and, should be done with this game to continue to drive the longevity and, maybe even push it through when the Division 3 becomes a thing. And I think strongly, I keep saying it, folks, I think they're working on a Division 3. You can't have 700 people just working on Avatar. Are you serious? Kidding me? Nah, man. It's most likely a Division 3 game or maybe another game, but I guess my money is on Division 3, but whatever. I don't know anything and I might be wrong, so I need to stop talking and get out of your hair. Okay, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Do you want a survival mode? And I've asked this question probably 4 to 7 times, but I think we need to keep asking the question as much as we can, because if they're paying any attention, then they need to be taking these cues to know exactly what this community wants on the PvE aspect of things. I'm out of here. Peace out.